Hi, my name's Helen Mort. I'm a poet and I'm also a lecturer in creative writing in the Manchester Writing School, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit today about found poetry and the process of writing a found poem. So I always think that trying to write a found poem is more like whittling down a sculpture than it is doing a painting. It's more a process of finding one text in another. I actually wrote this found poem, Skirt, after reading an article on Wikipedia about 1920s women's fashion. I was really struck by how some of the language in the article seemed quite quaint when you put it into a modern context, references to women's ankles and appropriate attire. And so I started taking out those phrases and arranging them on the page to see if I could get an interesting effect from those individual lines. And when I did, I found that I'd got a kind of 3-line stanza form, so that gave me the shape for the rest of the poem. Often when I'm writing a poem, I'm looking for a second idea to intersect with the first idea that I had, to give the poem a bit of a twist or to make it more nuanced or interesting. In this case, I decided to take some extracts from a contemporary forum of people discussing the miniskirt, and in contrast to the Wikipedia piece, it was full of judgmental attitudes, people talking about women in short skirts seducing or tempting men. So I decided to set some of those extracts against the ones I'd got from the first piece to see what that juxtaposition created. As I started to arrange the different texts on the page and look at them together, I noticed that there were certain sounds that chimed between the two extracts. So I started arranging them with rhyme in mind, seeing if I could bring out the rhyme in the piece. To do that, I had to condense some of the phrases from the online forum quite a bit, or in some cases even edit them. I guess you could argue that that's problematic because they weren't my own words, but the comments had been presented anonymously in a public forum, so I'd argue that I was just trying to create a kind of chorus effect. I also wanted to show that the 1920s article was about women's clothing and liberation, whereas the modern forum was all about restriction and judgment. So perhaps even though we've moved forward in time, maybe attitudes have moved backwards. So the poem acquired a kind of political urgency for me then, and I went back and started to edit it with that in mind.